Hey, Shaun, let's talk shop.
Yeah. All the tools and templates in our Hot Young Designers Club shop were built by designers for designers to save you time and to help you grow your business.
I think we did a good job focusing on making them beautiful while being completely customizable and at an affordable price point.
Yeah. So head to shop.hotyoungdesignersclub.com to learn more and save 10% off your first order.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
I'm Rebecca Plum, your big sister.
And I'm Shaun Surha, your GBF.
We're not that hot or that young,
but we believe it's a state of mind that helps us build adaptable and profitable businesses.
We rely on the support of our design besties to get through each day.
So let's explore the emotional, practical, and humorous sides of being interior designers.
Welcome to the club. Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
We're cutting a little close this recording. A little behind the scenes.
It has been a rush between the end of the year and the beginning of the year. And sometimes we go, oh shit, we forgot to record that? Oh no.
Sometimes our lovely VA, Sarah, says, you guys,
like,
didn't
really?
record it?
Thank God we have checks and balances, because otherwise today would have come and gone, no recording. And I know that there's some hotties who are like, they always tell us like, I can't wait for Friday's episode, or I'm refreshing my feed. They're waiting for it. So we want you to have that. So we're doing a little fast one.
But you know me, I always want them timely so we can talk a little bit real time.
Yes.
So we don't get to usually announce like exactly what our Patreon stuff is, what's happening there. So, but this time we're right up against it. So is it next week or the week after?
Next week.
Or how to hang out.
Hold on. Hold on. No, it's the week
after.
After. It'll be on the 14th. Friday the 14th. It'll be Valentine's Day.
Aww, our faves. So just a reminder, our Patreon is only $10 a month. It gives you a little extra behind the scenes episode. Not behind the scenes, but we get a little
behind the curtain is more what we're talking about. Like, it's like we can be more gritty and talk about more exact client examples without worrying that they're going to hear us.
But also, I mean, you're talking about something a little bit more personal this time. It's coming out next week.
Yes.
So there's definitely a little more that we're willing to share over there. And the Hottie Hangout is once a month. It's the second Friday of every month. We do a live Zoom. We have just a high level umbrella topic that is really just kind of a roundtable discussion around it.
It's like a mastermind session, but you don't have like a preset goal you need to accomplish, but you have a chance to pick a couple dozen designers' brains usually, because everyone can weigh in or guide you to somewhere, which it's really nice to have that hive mind effect.
Yeah, and we learn from the other hotties too. Like, we're never claiming to be experts in everything. So we definitely learn and share like very specific references if we need them, or referrals to, I don't know, we've shared like bookkeepers and gift ideas and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And sometimes there's that just in time, like, oh my God, this is happening right now. Please, you guys tell me what you think or what I should do. And those are always fun, but it feels good to know that we're helping each other in like real time moments. And
as well as like, if you're still with Meta, a Facebook group that's very private and pretty intimate just for those loyal hotties.
Yeah, just the loyal hotties over on our Facebook group there. And you get a discount in the shop you get a 20% discount in the shop on anything you purchase in our tools and our templates by being a Patreon member. And if you do join us in time for February's Hottie Hangout on the 14th, we're this month talking about automation and different apps and tools that help you kind of automate and create more systematic processes.
Yeah, it came up in our Facebook group. Somebody was asking about a Dubsado workflow question, and a few people answered specifically to that question, but also gave like references to a outside service they use that's helped them set their automations up. So it'll be some Dubsado, but it's not limited to that. So,
oh yeah, there's like Zapier and Asana can help with just process, but not necessarily automation. But
my Acuity has automation stuff. That's
yeah. So I think there's going to be a couple things we can. Oh yeah, you've been like, hold on. Well, that's another topic. But
we'll talk about it
in the Hottie Hangout in February.
Maybe it'll be fixed by then.
Yeah, we're just trying to get more of those ideas flowing, and it actually kind of relates to something that I'm going to talk about in today's episode. So there's a little bit of a
spoiler alert.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, we are usually pretty careful about like naming companies and brands and things here. We do, but I don't know. We just have to be a little bit more cautious. So over there, it's a very private forum.
Yeah, we'd love to see you there. It's honestly some of our like favorites. If you like being mommy and daddy's favorite.
But it is. We just real quick, we were in Las Vegas market this week too. So we're coming in hot and we got to meet a couple of the loyal hotties and I don't know, it's just always fun.
I know. I don't know. There really is like that feeling like we know each other. And I think that's been the most rewarding part of being part of this community with all of us. And there's just like so much. Everyone says, almost everybody kind of says the same thing in a good way to us, right? It's always like, I feel like I know you. I feel like this is a real conversation. I feel like this is the type of stuff that I'm trying to figure out with my local designers. And I think that's just really encouraging to hear that, not just for you and I to hear it, but also that so many designers find themselves in similar positions. And so there's something that makes it feel like you're not alone because you keep hearing how everyone else is going through similar things.
And I mean, there's hotties from all different levels in there, or I guess years of business, but there is something really nice about hooking up with people that are in a similar. I actually had a consultation with one this week and she wanted to talk to me because I was just like a couple steps ahead of her, which I think is helpful too, to not like, there are definitely mentors and designers that are 20 steps ahead of me. I can definitely learn from them and they can be amazing mentors, but there is something a little like distant, like, ooh, that's a lot. I still got a lot to go before
I'm there.
Before I'm there and I have 10 staff members and it's just a different operation versus when it's just you and where you are in your business. So, and seeing what's ahead, but also too far ahead feels daunting. So
yeah, and that's probably like a little bit about what we're talking about kind of today is like, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I don't know if that's my goal yet. Like watching someone who's like, I'm going to hit high 7 figures in blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wait. Can I just focus on getting to the beginning of that? Or like,
I can't even do $10 million in revenue. What would I do with all of that work? Like, I can't process that work. Like,
it's like how they say, like, don't get PR unless you have the ability to service the people you're going to get from PR.
Right. You have to build the infrastructure first or you're going to really fuck something up.
Yeah. So that's kind of the scale that we're talking about when we're doing stuff with our Patreon community and the designers we get to meet in person. So yeah, check us out. It's patreon.com/HYDC.
Okay. So
we're gathered here today.
I kind of bullied you into doing some goal setting today live.
I know. I normally want to do this earlier, but the end of the year and the beginning of the year kind of rolled away from me for various reasons. If you're in the Patreon, you'll hear about that shortly, but it's just like, okay, get my brain back in it.
A lot going on and it doesn't need to be the most like expansive goals ever. Like you just need to keep the wheels on the track for the most part.
Yes.
But we all do.
Slow and steady.
Yeah. So goals don't have to be insane. But if you're ready for that, by all means, don't let us limit you. But I really wanted to do a January episode, like a goal setting episode, because I, for once, re-listened to our last January episode to kind of I needed to hear whether I've really made progress in areas and kind of hear 2023 Rebecca, like where she really was. So it was helpful. And I wanted to do that again, like a little journal entry almost.
And we wrapped that up at the end of the year together. We kind of reflected on where we were finishing out. So if you guys go back and listen in
the report card.
Was it the report card? Episode 134 is our report card. So that's where we listened to what we said at the end of 2023 or around that time, reflected on it so you can compare. And then now we're talking about what we want to do for 2025 or what we don't want to do even. Could be both. All of the above.
I mean, my list could be very long, but we're just going to keep it to a few each.
We're going to do just a few each because, you know, when you run your own show, there's
And everything. These aren't SMART goals. We're not doing all the little, it's very specific. What is it? Specific, measurable,
time,
accountable.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
I mean, we should be applying them to each on our own, but that's not what we're doing today. We're just stating some things.
So related to that, this one is like, I have some data to back it up. So maybe I start with that one. Like this one was the easiest for me to work through thanks to Acuity. Acuity tracks everyone who books a discovery call. Mm-hmm. And I feel like most people that I've talked to, some people have come through DMs that I've been friendly with locally where I do just get on the phone with them. So some of them aren't in this data because I remember them from throughout the year, but this is the majority of them. But 32% of my discovery calls in 2024 didn't lead to some kind of conversion, which isn't terrible. What that meant is that
32 did not convert.
32% of them.
Yeah, did not convert to a bigger engagement.
Yeah, so that means 68% of my inquiries did either turn into a in-home consult, which I'm fine doing a standalone consult. You know, I mean, they're not my favorite, but I'll do them. Okay. These are people who booked a call first and ended up being better for just a consult. Okay. I had people who also booked just consults, virtual and in-home, and I'm not counting those as part of this. Like, this is just the people who did a discovery call before.
Like testing your sales, basically.
Yeah.
And your sales funnel.
Yeah. So they either went to consult only, or I recommended designer on call. They went to full service. Or I had a few, you know, at the end of last year, I had a handful of ones that went to just construction only type of like finishes and materials type of work. So I'm not upset at that number. Like 32% didn't lead to anything.
I feel like that's a really good number. You're over 50% conversion.
Yeah. So I feel good about that.
10, like in the shop or whatever, we'll just tell you like 10% is awesome.
Oh yeah. Like online e-commerce type of stuff. You're great. That'd be like stellar. So I feel good about it. But what I noticed when I looked back, because, you know, I have the data, so I can look back at those calls and my notes from the people who didn't convert. And the common thing for those people is the wrong budget, either for my services, not planning appropriately for my services, or the bigger one is they really aren't in the place for the type of project and construction they're trying to do. So I don't think I can eliminate those people necessarily. Like, I don't think the goal is 0 of those people, but I do think that there may be a place for me to introduce some other details for them, or just like long ago, I had some more questions about construction and construction costs and things in my inquiry form. Then I loosened those up for a while. And now I'm starting to realize like, oh, those probably need to move back toward, I need to do something to prepare those people before they're booking with me. And more for them, like they're like, oh, I guess I'm not ready yet. Or, you know, and I'm not embarrassed for them. It's just they feel like, oh, I didn't realize. Like one woman was like, I'm going to do $50,000 for a whole kitchen remodel. And I'm like, where? Like, you know, and for her, that was like kind of, I'm sure it was a little embarrassing. The one I'm thinking of was a little embarrassed. So I do think that there's...
No, because it's a lot of money still.
Yeah, I think that there definitely is something that I could either build back into my inquiry form. I stopped asking about construction. I stopped asking about furnishing costs. Like, I do think I can revise that a little bit.
But do you think
get them back in?
Do you think asking is gonna?
I'm thinking it's more like how I used to do it, where it was the drop downs, and it's like minimum budget starts at something, so that way those people can self-select out earlier. Because I used to do that in the Acuity form when they booked the discovery call, and I removed it just to get it shorter. And I'm trying to figure out, like, how do I give them a way to understand without me having to do tons of vetting, you know?
I think that's a way to do it. I think another way to do it, I mean, it could be both things, is to add, like, I'm looking at your contact page, which is where you have your list of different meetings people can book. You could have, like, maybe an area at the top that has some, like, resources, like wondering what your budget should be, like look at the
cost versus value.
Yeah. Like have just a little bit of educational resource. So it's not so much like I'm a snooty snoot and I don't get out of bed for under $150,000.
Yeah.
It's like helpful, which I think is on brand for you because you do want to help people. You just can't spend all your time doing it.
Yeah. And I want to arm people with information that they can make better decisions with. Like, I never want to be the first one.
It's not necessarily you being the one setting these prices. Like, these are... So, like, the links, you could have a blog post that it links to where you do, like, a long form spiel that includes that. Ooh, and have, like, a pretty little spot at the top to, like, start here if you're unsure what things remodels cost.
Yeah.
And then you could kind of pepper that in a bunch of places, actually.
Yeah, because it would be easier to spread it around, like, and use that content.
Guide, like, put it in a bunch of places.
Clink back out to it. Yeah. I think there is something to that because I don't want to make them work hard. Like, no, I don't want it to be like 20 clicks to get to booking. Like, I want it to be concise, which I can do some with just some guided questions or guided drop downs.
Yeah, you could still do that, but this could give them a little bit of information of why they're starting there.
Right. So that's when I'm looking at it, it was like, what's the common thread? Because I'm not bothered by the number of consults I had that converted. Like, no big deal. Like the Designer on Call ones, that's great. They weren't going to be a good fit for something else, and I did them through Designer on Call. My full service projects make sense. Like, again, there's not going to be a ton of those out of everything. Like, not everyone is going to be a perfect fit for those. But I felt overall good about knowing that most people converted to something, that 68% converted to some type of thing with me.
That's great.
And some of them were, like, one of the ones I started with again at the beginning of this year, I'm doing Designer on Call with them, but I did a series of consults with them years ago. Like, they've trickled in consults and now they're working on some bigger stuff and they need more help. So there is, like, a little bit of that, like, this is the on-ramp. This is where I help build trust and I have a rapport with people. And someone who could be doing Designer on Call now could be full service a year or two from now. So I still like being able to guide people to something like that.
Yeah, I think for me, Designer on Call is a way to just kind of retain cash flow and have a place for people to go. That's not just a no. And I don't know that I'll do it forever. Because I actually feel the opposite. Like, I don't think it has happened, but I don't think most of my Designer on Call clients would ever be full service. It's just like that mid budget, like, they're successful people, but to be able to do full service, it's a bigger expense. It's most people.
Yeah, most people will never make it past that. They just need some help.
And it's kind of hard because not a lot of designers will do that. So I shouldn't say that. Not every designer does it.
No, or you're like at the expert where it's, the expert's been a great platform for a lot of designers, but it is very expensive compared to most other designers. And most clients, if they can't even afford if they can't afford us at full service, it's even harder to imagine them getting help from some of these other big name designers for sure. So
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway.
they have a lot more overhead.
yeah, no kidding. Anyway, so I'm happy with that number. I think I just want to
awesome.
refine a
So
little bit.
do you have
there.
a new number in mind?
No, like, but maybe it'd be nice
Just
to
throw
get
one
it.
out.
I don't know, like only 20% of them.
Okay.
Like that would cut 12% of them off in theory. Like just make an incremental change and see if my messaging and all of that helps reduce it. I don't know. I picked 20, just like a rounded out number.
So yeah, I mean, that would be fun.
I mean,
to see.
12% improvement on non-conversion is good. Even if that means it's because of less calls, that's great because guess what? I spend a shit ton of time on calls. So
yeah, more qualified leads.
yeah, fewer calls is better for sure. Anyway,
Cool.
what's your first one on the list?
Okay, I feel like I say this every time, but I don't think I did last year.
Okay.
Get my books dialed.
Okay, but you made big improvements.
I have made incremental, pretty big leaps. I agree.
Yes.
But I had another situation where I had to walk away from my bookkeeper over the last 2 years, and
We're not going to talk about that here?
we're not going to talk about that here, but
Okay.
there are some private forums where people are talking about it, not ours. I'm glad I'm not alone, but I did find another bookkeeping firm that I am so far extremely happy with.
Yes.
And I hopefully feel like I'm home. P.S. I was referred to this by one of our loyal hotties in a hottie hangout. So
oh, yeah.
it's really helpful in that way. So yeah, I don't think, I just had a call with my new bookkeeper yesterday, and I don't think they've made giant errors. They just didn't completely finish reconciling for the last 6 months.
But in theory, you were paying them to have done that during those monthly bills.
I'm sure I overpaid. So my bookkeeper is just hauling ass to get my 2024 done and closed, my sales tax for this quarter, and my 1099s. But she's being awesome and she's so efficient. Like, we had a 1 hour meeting where we went through 6 months of transactions that she had quick questions on, and she's like handling a lot. Like, for instance, like 4 hands, I have like a really big PO that's got 20 pieces on it, and they chip away at the PO every time they ship something, right? You only get invoiced for what they ship, but it's hard to kind of match. So you have to just kind of match what actually shipped against this big number. And anyway, she's like, just give me the login, I'll do it. Like, I've been Sherlock Holmesing it every time I get a new shipment. And I'm like, what the hell is this one? Well, yeah. So she's just get it done, and she has meetings and takes call. Like, we can just have a call and instead of me
and she's accessible.
putting it off. Yeah, like, because the body doubling thing really, really helps me for things that I don't want to do. So
what do you mean by body doubling?
Oh, it's like an ADHD term. Like, a body double is when you have somebody just sit with you and do it together.
Oh yeah, like co-working kind of, but literally on the same task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about it in like organization methods, and
I feel
my
that.
VA, actually, she's not always virtual, but she does it with me where, okay, let's knock this out. Like, we have to figure out social media. Like, you sent me a list, but I need you to sit here with me and do it together.
Yeah, like sit down and get to work. I like that.
Yeah, it's very helpful. So my goal is, once this is all caught up, to have monthly goals. Like, right now, I can't even, I still don't really have visibility on,
because the data's not there, or it's not accurate or complete yet.
Yeah, I don't want to like pull reports and like trust that it's right. So
yeah,
with her, I want to be able to set revenue goals and look at actual financials monthly, instead of just like making sure my transactions are correct, which is just where I've been living in. Like, okay, did you do the sales tax? And is this
everything is reactive instead of proactive up till now.
It's just not strategic at all. Like I don't have any strategy with that aspect. So that's my goal.
Well, I'm not super happy with my bookkeeper too, so I relate to this. But I mean, she's like if a level 3 is like completely satisfied and 5 is like, oh my God, they're amazing. She's like a 2.5, like, which to me isn't great for someone who's providing that type of service. Would it be okay for like a car wash? Okay, but like my bookkeeping, no.
But
2.5
you're also
isn't.
still able to pull the reports you need.
Yeah, and I can read them, and I have my CPA who reviews things with me quarterly, and I can always ask him. Like, he is very accessible. So I think that has made it easier for me to like hobble the bookkeeper along because she's billing hourly, but I don't love that. So I think I just love hearing that you're doing more with it, and if it means that it encourages me to do it, that'd be cool too. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think like
Stay
you haven't
tuned.
hit a major pain point to like, I don't know.
Yeah, but that
depending on the
like,
type of projects you have, like
yeah,
I mean, if
I've
you
been
got
able to
where
manage
you had
it.
like a ton of furniture purchasing and that kind of stuff, then you might hit more walls with it. So
yeah, I might be angrier faster.
like if you couldn't figure out your sales tax because it wasn't reconciled, like that.
Correct. Okay, this next one for me is I have, like you saw last year, and hotties, if you've been listening throughout the year or even looking at our Patreon episodes, like I spent a lot of time refining like the brand voice through the website and sort of using more attract and repel techniques as much as I could online. And then as little as I was on Instagram, I was also doing it there. Like some of the posts are literally like one of the posts that I did. It says doing all white houses really isn't our thing. Like, and it's a big cover letter, like as soon as you open this carousel. And so I'm trying to use more of that to just keep putting my voice and what I like or don't like out there, which I can say has been working for like, I don't know. I feel like from the time I rebranded around 2022, where it became like cool old homes for distinctive characters, I have been moving that direction and constantly moving that needle. And I do not get like, not one of those discovery calls that I mentioned earlier, not one was for like a new build or a new house or like a tract developer, anything. So love that for me, truly. Mm-hmm. Not that it has to be bad, but like I spent a lot of time updating the language on my website and what like really just saying like one of the sentences is we're not interested in creating the same house you've seen all over the internet. Like just making it very clear what people should be looking for if they get to me and what they could expect from us working together. So my homepage used to just be like a carousel. And then that was it. Like it would just be carousel and then go to the menu at the top if you want to see anything else. So now it's like encouraged people to like stick with the scroll a little bit longer, read more, go to other pages. The portfolio, you and I both were doing that last year, like adding case studies to our portfolios. So that way
I still have so much to do. Yeah.
There's a lot, but like I have noticed that as I'm doing discovery calls with people, they are referring to the projects and saying something like that they're quoting or pulling out of like, my house is like that too. Or so I know that it's helping and that like encourages me to keep going. So designers, if you've been lagging, case studies, this is just my anecdotal evidence. It helps. And I've seen other designers doing it. And there's got to be a reason why all these PR people and other people say that we should be doing stuff like this. So
and the SEO guys say it too.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so I just want to continue to refine that voice and like stick to that as I'm communicating. I've noticed that when I'm starting to go through my investment guide again and like look at, hey, the annual refresh, what do I need to do? Yeah. And I'm seeing that I need to spend some time in that as well, of just making it really tightly aligned, really consistent. And I think that like narrow focus for that is really, it's made it easier for me to talk to people. It's meant that I'm only having to remember one message or a couple sets of things that I talk about with people if they're inquiring with me. So it has made it easier because I'm not just scattered all over the place trying to get everybody.
So what do you want to do this year?
I think there's a couple things. I'm going to phase out my direct to consumer showroom type of offering, because you've seen I've changing my studio around. I'm reducing my square footage in my studio. I'm going to have fewer pieces on display. I'll still have them for my clients to be able to use, or for designers to be able to bring their clients to, but that's not bringing me joy. And I think it is confusing the messaging of A, what I want to do, but B, where I'd rather spend my time. So
yeah,
I'm kind of that's got to get cleared out, which isn't hard to do, but there's some cleanup to do on that messaging. And then for me, get the investment guide really tightly aligned with that. So some of the showroom piece can kind of come out of that. But I think it'll make it just an easier, clearer message of this is what I do, and kind of take stuff like designer on call, things like that, take them off menu.
Yeah.
This is what we really do. You can either do full service or you could do consults. And then if I'm talking to someone and want to talk about something else, maybe, but clean out the messaging on that.
For sure. Yeah. I took all of my services off.
It just needs to be, this is what I'm doing. This is all, it's a very tight menu. You go to In-N-Out and it's a very tight menu. I'm going to be even tighter than that, I feel like.
Yeah, I did a big website update at the end of the year, and I took all of my individual services off and just pushed people to download the investment guide, and then I can just tweak on that as needed.
I mean, I think that's where we ultimately want them to go. And this was that last year, you had 2 clients who are arguably in that dream zone. And you're having so much fun working with them that it encourages you to stick with projects like that. And
I know I can move into my next one, but I know as soon as I photograph them, it's going to create more attractiveness.
More demand?
Yeah, I was just thinking, for anyone that just feels a little discouraged with their portfolio and that they don't have the breadth of projects that they want, I will say when I photographed that ESAC kitchen and those dark wine colored cabinets, that project, people love it. And I think it's got a lot to do with relatability, kind of what you were talking about. People see their house in that project because it's pretty a modest home, size wise and stuff. And the kitchen's real common, of a layout. So I think that has made a big change in the attention that I'm getting. And I was able to photograph 2 projects last year. And so my goal this year is to photograph 3. The nice thing, I already know 2 are going to happen. And those are multi-room, in a major way, which I haven't really had. I've had the 2 I did last year were 2.5 rooms.
Okay.
2 3/4.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay,
there were a couple half room updates. And I didn't do the furniture in that remodel, that ESAC remodel. So I couldn't pull back too much, So
yes.
And I really don't kind of maybe opposite of you. I don't want to do a ton of remodel. That's not my favorite or my sweet spot at this point. So I have these 2 projects I'm doing right now are mostly furnishing, and there's just a lot of furniture. And I am just so excited to see them finish and appear in camera. Just seeing a room that you have had in your head, had the swatches, looked at my shitty renderings, and then you look in the camera and it's oh my God, it looks like a magazine. Even if
Every
it's
time.
not,
Every time it shocks me how great you're like, I did that?
I mean, it looks like better than you're looking at it with your eyeballs, but it's just something about seeing it in
I know.
the computer viewfinder. It's like, holy shit. So
I'm really good.
well, it's just like
Right?
so much prettier. Yeah. So right now I know I have 2. The third is not, it's like I haven't met it yet. So I'm hoping that I'm manifesting it to come soon so she can get photographed this year.
So that third project is the one that you're like, this is one hasn't happened yet. It's got to happen.
Yeah. Well, the other 2, the finish line actually needs to get crossed, but
it's pretty definite though.
yeah, those clients are super on board. One, I have to travel to another state, but yeah, she's great. So
it's going to be so good.
Yeah. So the one here installs in a week from today. Kind of dying.
Yeah. Everyone needs to keep like watching your feed though, because you're not sharing like a whole, well, you're sharing stuff, but just paring back a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to share. The furniture is installing. There's still going to be like a styling layer and stuff that has to happen, but and a few pieces will still be trickling in, and there's some cabinets and stuff that needs to get installed.
I'm so excited.
Beyond that,
I mean, I'm excited for you.
I mean, I'm excited for me. I'm excited for the clients. Like, so excited for the clients. Like, they've been camping in their house and have been that project. They've been 6 months without any furniture and a mattress on the floor. So like,
oh my God. Like you guys all have to stay tuned. You're going to be like, I'm excited when I get updates. And so I know I'm just so excited for you.
Yeah. And those 2 projects are like very much very layered, very colorful, very like a lot. So yeah. So I'm manifesting that third. And even if it's just one room, getting it shot.
Hey, hotties, we have way more for you over on the Hot Young Designers Club blog.
It's kind of like having an internet home base that we've been wanting to start.
Yeah, we're over there doing designer features, sharing industry news, and some business updates.
We've always wanted to be able to share our inspiration, so we needed a long-form place to do it, and now we have it.
You got it. So head to hotyoungdesignersclub.com and check out the blog.
What's that saying? Where they're like, the dream is alive in, and then, like, what is that from that I'm imagining this from? But it's like, the dream is alive in Sacramento. Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous?
Is it? It's like, it's gotta be in a movie, right? Or like, is it just like a tourism board thing? Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I feel like that's, maybe I don't know. Y'all, if you heard where that's from, but it's like kind of corny, I feel like, but it's that's what I'm hearing as you're saying it. The dream is alive in Sacramento.
I'm trying to keep it alive. I'm working on staying positive out here, folks.
I'm very stoked for you. I do have some projects that are that colonial revival. The tile is going in like as we speak for the bathroom and the kitchen. It's that like Dutch blue kind of kitchen.
Yeah.
That I've been sharing. That one's going to finish up soon. I don't know if I'll do, well, I might do photos because this one's in Long Beach too. We did one of the bathrooms first for this client, but we're probably going to do the second one. We just haven't figured it out, like for sure the timelines of that yet. But I had a cool contractor who was like, I can start them with this because they need to get in the house and live in the house they just bought. And so that bathroom, and if we decide we're going to do the second one, I'll probably wait to photograph those so I can do them at the same time and just have a little bit more to go with.
Yeah.
And then I don't think this one's going to be finished built this year, but I have another Spanish house project that is adding a second story, which sounds familiar to you guys because I had another Spanish house that's adding a second story. So, and literally they are like 4 blocks from each other in Belmont Shore here in Long Beach. So that one probably will not get built this year. Like they're doing engineering right now. I'm designing all of the other details, like digging in and the furniture and but it's
not permitted yet.
I love her already. Like she wanted to do this little cat cutout. I told you this in Marco Polo. But her dad owned the house for like 40 years. Her dad and mom lived there. She's moving in. And there were like picket fence. You know how people cut little shapes between the pickets on a wood fence and they put like a shape in them or like a heart, or you've seen it, like kind of cottagey, right?
Yeah.
Her dad did that, but he put cat heads because they always had cats. Between the pickets, it was like a little cat head detail that because he did all this woodworking and stuff. And so now we've come up with this, like we just had an active brainstorm together where she was such a dream of like, where are we going to put the litter box for your cat? Like there's not a lot of great options in this. It's a small house and everything is still kind of open. We ended up on this cool idea that we're going to do this little like cat head shape cutout through into a cabinet where the litter box will be hidden inside. A cat head shape?
I'm making it like a mouse hole shape, but it's...
Oh, okay. But same idea.
Yeah, the cabinet... Like the cat has been using the shower as its litter box, and having the door has to stay open all the time. So,
oh my God,
we're putting a little mouse hole in the hallway so the cat can just access the cabinet from the hall.
Yeah, and this one, mine will go through it'll have a pathway into the garage where it'll be out there.
Yeah, I love those. Like people, this is not a complaint about anybody specifically, but
sure,
people with cats, there's a lot of like working around the cats.
Yeah. I don't have to think about the dog at all because I have a doggy door, or you let your dog in and out, but he waits.
Yeah, he holds it. But the cat, I don't know. I mean, I know cat people be loving their cats.
Cat people be catting.
They really limit fabrics. This damn cat boxes are always a thing.
Oh, hers is like 26 inches tall. It's one of those spacey ones. Like it's like a black hole and it spins around and it's a whole thing.
I love the garage access. I was trying to tell Claire she needs to do that.
Yeah, I love that we were able to like actively brainstorm. I was like, you really want to put this in your laundry room? Like you really want to walk on litter in your laundry room? Every time you come in, it's like the only cabinet is the one by the door and you're going to hear it from your bedroom. And she's like, no, I don't. But like, I don't want to see it and I don't want it in the bathroom. I don't want it sitting in a guest bathroom anymore. And I'm like, I agree with you. So it was just a fun session and I'm so excited to keep working with her. And that's going to continue to develop for the rest of the year. Like I'm going to be working on that for a while. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens for us this year.
I know. Well, I encourage you to try to get a couple shoots, even if like that second bathroom isn't, maybe it's another year out. I can still do just the one bathroom. Yeah, I do think it's just, if you can, important if you haven't been able to refresh your portfolio page, just to do it. Like I'm always surprised. I remember we talked about this. I'm always surprised at what people resonate with. Like that one bathroom shot of yours that like, it's a beautiful bathroom, but
I know
it's like, but because it's such a typical bathroom, people are looking for their house in your work.
Yes.
And you just don't, like, you may not be excited about just having a bathroom on your website, but that could be what clinches it for somebody.
It does make a difference when people can imagine themselves in the space. So I don't know. I would still shoot that one bathroom by itself if the second one isn't going to follow in short order, because I have another, like I have that primary bathroom plus a big kitchen area, and I could add on that bathroom to the same day shoot because we're still, like, my photographer lives in my city and those shoots are on the east and the west side of the city. So it's like not hard to do it. Like for her, it's just like, let's book the day, you stick around Long Beach, we'll bop to the places, and then we'll still be done early. Like, yeah, and she'll have an easy day.
We need those like little celebratory updates in our business, you know?
It's like a graduation day every time we do one, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is my last one. Is I have wanted to get my like client experience processes more refined in the new year. Like I have, you know how I am. Like I have the stuff, I have the guides, I've written that email 100 times, but I don't always have them I don't always have the canned emails programmed into my Dubsado. I don't always have the process completely built out in Asana, or this was one that came up in that Facebook group. And this is why it's one of my goals is I have been customizing every single welcome guide for every client every time, but I'm the one getting in the way of it getting done fast or going out really quickly. And so I'm taking a critical look at, are there things that I can automate and build into Dubsado workflows or Acuity workflows or use Zaps? So that's why this Hottie Hangout coming up, I think, is going to spur even more ideas for me.
Yeah.
Because I know there are places that I can do it. I have just been so focused on getting the work done that I have lost sight a little bit of what does that client experience look like when they're thinking they're going to get something and then it doesn't come as quickly. And then they get it and you're like, well, this shouldn't have taken that long. That welcome guide could have gone out practically immediately or the next morning after they sign.
If you didn't have their individual scheduled dates on that guide, if that comes out, it gets put somewhere else, for example.
Yeah. If that ends up being in another email, more customized thing that gives me time to work on.
But it's just an email and you don't have to do anything fancy and just take some sort of friction out of the process for you.
It's just the feel good. That's just one example of where it's a feel good where they're we signed everything. Now what? It's this guide could literally come to them the next morning and say, we're so excited. Welcome. Here you are. Here's some stuff. Here's what to expect next. And that next stuff could be the more custom stuff because all the onboarding, but then, so anyway, it follows the rabbit hole of the onboarding can then be automated a little bit easier. One of the hotties mentioned, I won't go too far into this because I know we're going to talk about it more, but she was like, oh, I set up Zaps. So when they sign in Dubsado, it creates their profile in my Harvest app. So that way I can track their billables. And I was like, freaking mind blown.
I know.
Why am I doing this? Had no idea
that you could do that. I know. That was something I wanted to do too, because I'm having my VA do it every time she does a little onboard.
Here's the onboard checklist. So I think that's where it spurred me, this hearing these ideas little by little spurred me to say, I need to spend a little bit more time refining this because it's going to give me more time back ultimately. And I can make sure that my clients are getting the things they need that keep them feeling happy longer. And I feel good investing some more time in that. And I feel it's one of those things I haven't really done in a while.
I know. And it's one of those things that takes it only takes me 2 minutes to do it, but maybe you're putting it off or it's just a thing that's in your brain for too many days. Mm-hmm. I've been doing it with my designer on call. Part of the justification of designer on call is that it's very turnkey for me to do. I have a evergreen link. I don't customize anything. The proposal is quote unquote public. It's a private link, but it's not in Dubsado language. It's not for a specific person. And so that never edits, but I wasn't doing my kickoff email wasn't going out automatically. And I was having to, there's something wrong with it. And I wasn't problem solving why it wasn't going out and blah, blah, blah. So I fixed that. So now it's just okay, I sell it.
Done.
They book it. They get the email. They get the links. They learn how to make their first appointment. I don't have to do anything.
I want this for all of us.
I know.
I really do.
Because
that's
really,
why
we should be spending the time on the full service clients. They're servicing the needs of the things that are going to be popping up. Because those you can't streamline to a point.
I think this is, I'm open to ideas. Any hotties who are listening, even if you're not in our Patreon, you want to shoot me some ideas of stuff you've automated, send it my way. I do have a number of canned emails. I do have schedule. It's time to schedule your this. It's time to do that. And it's it's pre-written. it's not necessarily automated, but having it already created as a canned email in Dubsado even just is like click, 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 send, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I love that for you.
Thank you. I'm excited for us to get our stuff together here.
Okay, my last one is something that I've never done. And I am prioritizing professional development.
Okay.
Which, it's funny, I run a podcast that's basically about professional development, but I have never like formally done that for my business. Well, I have a little bit, but not so much for Studio Plum in a while.
Okay.
So I signed up for the Haven conference. What is that? Is it conference? Workshop? It's in Sonoma this year in May. So I am doing that. So I'm investing in that. A few designers that I know, a couple of them are on the East Coast that we met when we were in High Point last year, and they're friends of my local friend, Allie. And yeah, so they were going. I'm like, I don't have to fly anywhere. It's like an hour drive away. So
is it that close?
Sonoma? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Like the things that are so close to us that I don't do more regularly.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh, that's even closer than like me trying to go to the Temecula wineries. Like it's.
Oh no, it's really close. Napa's really close.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's like it's going to be really great. I'm really excited.
Done.
And the girls that are going are just like really focused on improving, and I'll be able to learn from them too. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. And then I also got a last minute ticket to the Design Influencers Leadership Conference, which is now in like a week and a half. I just kind of found out I was going last week, but that's
where is that?
Napa.
Oh, again.
Yeah, so same area. It's super nice resort. That's going to be 3 days, 2 nights. So again, like no flying. And yeah, it was the design bloggers conference turned design influencers conference. And now they've renamed it the Design Influencers Leadership Conference. So Apple
Plus, like extreme. Like, I don't know how many things can we add on.
I think the influencers term like freaks people out and they don't think it applies, but I've been a few times and there is that component to it, but there's so much that we all need to be influencing our clients, influencing our audiences.
Like the salesmanship of what we do is there, the marketing.
Yeah, there's a lot of different angles that they take. So I'm excited. And Adam Japko, who's the conference leader, the owner of Esteem Media, he's a real character. If you've met him, he's always fun to be around. And he's like a big wine guy. So I'm sure he's going to be.
Ooh, you got to get wined and dined.
Yeah. So that's coming up. Yeah. So that's going to be fun.
This is like your investment. This goes back to like the questions we were talking about when we came back from High Point of like, what did you do to invest in your business? Like, what was the best investment of your business? And these have been things that have come up of like the time that we spent individually around other designers talking about big ideas. Like these things are big for us.
Yeah. And being around designers and going on our sourcing market trips, they're so helpful and so amazing. And I have always invested in that, but it doesn't push the business side forward necessarily. So I'm looking for new ways to do that.
I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to hear about it. I'm sure the hotties will get to hear about it soon too.
I know. And kind of like full circle, like what we talked about in the beginning, we should be manifesting big goals and big numbers and revenue streams. And if we say, oh, I can't do that, like I did in the beginning of this conversation, I can't do that because I don't have the infrastructure set up, then you just keep blocking growth.
You're stopping the universe from bringing you the things that you want. And it's literally like, oh, you said you wanted this. Like,
I can't handle that, but I'm not doing anything to be able to handle it. So that's no duh.
This was the short version is like, I had a challenging vendor who it was like something with his kids and his mom, and then he was sick, and then the supplies and whatever. And I was like, at one point, I was talking to the client and they're like, what do you think's going on? I was like, I don't know, but he needs to pick a struggle because I can't, we pick one because we cannot keep chasing all these. And at some point you're just like, get it together, pick one and let's tackle it. And I feel like that's the same issue we're talking about is like, we can keep having the struggle of like all the reasons why we don't get to some goal. But if we're not trying to get out of our way or trying to get rid of one of those things and actively do something about it, we're never going to get there. Like,
totally.
No duh.
And I came to a realization at the end of last year that I wasn't wanting to goal set or manifest, for the lack of a better word. And I wasn't knowing what I wanted to manifest. And it was really around being afraid to ask for more and doing the work that it would take to have more.
Yeah.
So I'm still not in the grow just to grow business. I don't want to have a huge
That doesn't sound
staff
attractive to
and
you.
an army of people. No. But I don't know what that number really ultimately would look like. And there's just a lot of different ways to do it. So
Yeah. I mean, hotties, I think you should write down just a few goals for yourself too. Don't go wild if you're not sure where to start.
You're not sure where to start. Do what I did and ask Chatty. ChatGPT.
It does help.
I ask him a lot, and he knows a lot of what I'm working on.
Oh my God.
I said, give me 5 goals that I should be setting for my business this year. And he did. And then I said, give me 5 more. And he did. And I extracted and made mine here.
Ooh. God, the things that ChatGPT is going to know about us at some point, it's going to know too much.
Already does. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was having it run some depreciation numbers for my taxes. Because I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going to come off of the Renstead books from 2024. And I love that you could just feed it stuff and it gives you more details. Like, I'm just like, at some point, ChatGPT is going to be filing my taxes. Like,
oh my God. Well, can we...
Like QuickBooks, the tax,
does.
like Intuit filing taxes, they're probably going to be powered by AI pretty soon here. And it's going to be programmed to like look for more. And they're not going to need these wild algorithms. I don't know. We don't have to go into that. That's a whole other episode.
No, but I do really love using it for digesting information that I can't get my brain to work around. We can have a whole episode about it. Maybe we will. Write that down. Chatty, what should we talk about in our next episode?
Tell us 10 podcast episode ideas based on our current catalog. Or hotties, you could tell us too, if you want.
We're open for ideas.
Yeah, let's do it. Well.
Okay, well, here's to a expansive 2025.
Ooh, expansive and abundant.
And intentional. Expansive intentionality is my authentic code for the year.
I'm going to leave it with that. Okay.
We can leave it with that.
Until next time.
Stay hot, designers.
Thanks for listening to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
For more on what we talked about today, check out the show notes.
Your support helps us grow, so share with your design besties.
And subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Our conversations continue on Instagram.
And be sure to download our monthly resources on our website and our Patreon.